The class Dinosauria was originally defined by Sir Richard Owen of the Royal Society and Superintendent of the British Museum Natural History Department in 1842, or in other words, the existence of dinosaurs was first speculatively hypothesized by a knighted museum head coincidentally in the mid-19th century during the heyday of evolutionism, before a single dinosaur fossil had ever been found. The Masonic media and mainstream press worldwide got to work hyping stories of these supposed long-lost animals, and then, lo and behold, 12 years later, in 1854, Ferdinand Vanderveer Hayden, during his exploration of the upper Missouri River, found proof of Owen's theory. A few unidentified teeth he mailed to leading paleontologist Joseph Leidy, who several years later declared them to be from an ancient, extinct Trachodon dinosaur, which, beyond ironically, means rough tooth. Firstly, it should be needless to say that it is impossible to reconstruct an entire hypothetical ancient animal based on a few teeth. But even more importantly, it is dubious that a myriad of ancient reptile, bird, and reptile mammal transitional forms necessary for the blossoming theory of evolution would be hypothesized and then conveniently discovered by teams of evolutionist archaeologists purposely out looking to find such fossils. And it is even more dubious that such fossils have supposedly existed for millions of years, but were never found by or known to any civilization in the history of humanity until evolutionism's Masonic Renaissance in the mid-19th century. David Wozni wrote, "Why are there no discoveries by Native Americans in all the years previous when they roamed the American continents? There is no belief of dinosaurs in the Native American religion or tradition. For that matter, why were there no discoveries prior to the 19th century in any part of the world? According to the World Book Encyclopedia, before the 1800s, no one ever knew that dinosaurs existed. During the late 1800s and early 1900s, large deposits of dinosaur remains were discovered. Why has man suddenly made all these discoveries? No tribes, cultures, or countries in the world ever discovered a dinosaur bone before the mid-1800s, and then they were suddenly found all over the world in North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Argentina, Belgium, Mongolia, Tanzania, West Germany, and many other places apparently had large deposits of dinosaur fossils never before seen. All these places were inhabited and well explored for thousands of years before this time. Why had no one ever found a dinosaur fossil before?" According to the book The Dinosaur Project, paleontological journalist Wayne Grady claims the period following this, from around 1870 to 1880, became a period in North America where some of the most underhanded shenanigans in the history of science were conducted. In what was known as the Great Dinosaur Rush, or the Bone Wars, Edward Drinker Cope of the Academy of Natural Sciences and Othniel Marsh of the Peabody Museum of Natural History began a lifelong rivalry and passion for dinosaur hunting. They started out as friends, but became bitter enemies during a legendary feud involving double-crossing, slander, bribery, theft, spying, and destruction of bones by both parties. Marsh is said to have discovered over 500 different ancient species, including 80 dinosaurs, while Cope discovered 56. Out of the 136 dinosaur species supposedly discovered by the two men, however, only 32 are presently considered valid, as the rest have all proven to be falsifications and fabrications. None of them once claimed to find a complete skeleton either, so all their work involved reconstructions. In fact, to this day, no complete skeleton has ever been found, and so all dinosaurs are reconstructions. David Wozni wrote, "Discoveries and excavations seem not to be made by disinterested people such as farmers, ranchers, hikers, outdoor recreationists, building construction industry basement excavators, pipeline trench diggers, and mining industry personnel, but rather by people with a vested interest such as paleontologists, scientists, university professors, and museum organization personnel who were intentionally looking for dinosaur bones or who have studied dinosaurs previously. Finds are often made during special dinosaur bone hunting trips and expeditions by these people to faraway regions already inhabited and explored. This seems highly implausible. More believable is the case of the discovery of the first original Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947, which were unintentionally discovered by a child and which were all published by 1955. In some cases of a discovery of dinosaur bones by a disinterested person, it was suggested to them by some professional in the field to look or dig in a certain area. Also very interesting to note are special areas set aside and designated as dinosaur parks, for which amateur dinosaur hunters are required to first obtain a dinosaur hunting license. Whatever destination these establishment-funded archaeologists and paleontologists set, it seemed they found incredible numbers of fossils in tiny areas. In one of the largest dinosaur excavation sites, called the Ruth Mason Quarry, over 2,000 fossils were allegedly discovered. Casts and original skeletons assembled from these bones are currently on display in over 60 museums worldwide. Florentino Ameghino, head of paleontology at La Plata Museum, is amazingly responsible for 6,000 fossil species supposedly discovered throughout his career, all in Argentina. Dinosaur hunter Earl Douglas sent 350 tons of excavated dinosaur bones to the Carnegie Museum of Natural History throughout his career, all coming from the Dinosaur National Monument in Utah. During an expedition to Patagonia, Dr. Louis Chiappe and Dr. Lowell Dingus supposedly discovered thousands of dinosaur eggs at a site of only a few hundred square yards. Many experts have mentioned how such finds of huge quantities of fossils in one area by just a few highly invested individuals goes against the laws of natural probability and lends credence to the likelihood of forgeries or concentrated planting efforts. David Wozni wrote, "Dinosaur bones sell for a lot of money at auctions. It is a profitable business. There is pressure for academics to publish papers. Museums are in the business of producing displays that are popular and appealing. Movie producers and the media need to produce material to sell to stay in business. The mainstream media loves to hype alleged dinosaur finds. Much is to be gained by converting a bland, non-dinosaur discovery of a bone of modern origin into an impressive dinosaur find, and letting artists' interpretations and imaginations take the spotlight rather than the basic, boring, real find. There are people who desire and crave prestige, fame, and attention. There is the bandwagon effect and crowd behavior. And then there are people and entities pursuing political and religious agendas. Highly rewarding financial and economic benefits to museums, educational and research organizations, university departments of paleontology, discoverers and owners of dinosaur bones, and the book, television, movie, and media industries may cause sufficient motivations for ridiculing of open questioning and for suppression of honest investigation. The fact that T-Rex bones have sold at auctions for upward of $12 million shows how lucrative the field of dinosaur hunting can be, and it just happens to be museum officials who serendipitously seem to make the most prolific finds. The first dinosaur to ever be publicly displayed was the Hadrosaurus folci at Edward Drinker Cope's Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia. The bones were co-discovered by Joseph Leidy, Cope's esteemed professor, and the man responsible for the Trachodon Toothosaurus. The original Hadrosaurus reconstruction, which is still on display today, shows a huge plaster-cast bipedal reptile standing upright, using its tail as a third leg. What few people know, however, is that no skull was ever discovered and no original bones were put in the public exhibit. David Wozni wrote, "A visual and a sculptural artist were promptly hired to invent a skull, and from the illustrations of another artist, who had depicted the iguanodon, the two artists drew the same face for the Hadrosaurus folci. The people involved could now technically defend the existence of this dinosaur if someone were to ask. The stunt worked out so well and fooled the public so thoroughly that they could later change the head of the creature without anyone noticing. To this day, Hadrosaurus folci is on display at the Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia. The bones are said to be kept behind heavy closed doors, but a plaster copy is exhibited in their place. So we learn of an iguana skull being substituted for the skull of a dinosaur on display. What was the public told at the time? What are we not being told today? What we are not being told is that this is the rule and not the exception. To this day, not a single complete skeleton of any dinosaur has ever been found. All the museum displays, models, mannequins, cartoons, and movies of prehistoric monsters you have ever seen are all imaginative reconstructions based on incomplete skeletons arranged in a manner paleontologists believe to be most realistic. Furthermore, the skeletons exhibited in museums are all admittedly intricate fabrications made of plaster, fiberglass, various epoxies, and other animal bones, not original fossils. When dinosaur bones are transported and prepared, they use strips of burlap soaked in plaster to jacket over the fossils. Then, after a
the youth demographic. But after putting on my thinking cap, I realized
snakes are everywhere.
It's all sort of reptilians assuming human form.
All right, okay, fair enough. Now,
que causó una supuesta alerta. Juzgue usted mismo.
Here we're looking at the shapeshifter here. You see his teeth right over there? Now, see how pointy they are, like jaws? Alright, now here, look at them now. See, they're going to be straight. Yeah, they straighten out. This is what you call a reptilian shapeshifter. See this guy's eyes? This is Weird Al in the new video of Foil. See that bulge in his face over there? See them reptilian eyes? Now take a look at this, people. At the end of the video, you're going to see something pretty shocking. Are you ready? See this? Rubbed in your face, people. Absolutely rubbed in your face. You were a silly human slave, and you're the food class, the slave class. Now you need to memorize this stuff, people. This is called lesser magic. Remember that. It takes your blood off your master's hand. See this? You can't say that they didn't rub it in your face. Non-stop. Everything you know is a lie, people. Look up the Harvard study proving vampirism is real. They show you drinking the blood of babies, eating babies, injecting the blood into you, reverses aging. You see Kim Kardashian eating her placenta on TV? Now you got a million cannibal moms out there eating their babies' placentas and afterbirth. Now listen, animals in the wild eat that stuff only because they don't want predators to come in and whatnot. And the placenta, that's what sifts out all the bad stuff. Eating the placenta is not good for you, but they tell you drinking the blood of babies reverses aging. Now, you need to look up sun gazing to superhuman. I'm a sun gazer, and I'm informing you that after 6 months your hypothalamus will be fully charged and you'll be switching from eating food over to getting your energy from the sun directly through your eyes through sun gazing. The trick is to be barefoot on dry non-conductive soil. You go 10 seconds your first day, 20 seconds your next day, working up to 44 minutes, just adding 10 seconds each day. And then you'll switch to 10 minutes 3 times a week. And you'll always be doing this earthing, which is barefoot walking on dry, non-conductive soil for 45 minutes a day, 5 to 6 days a week. And if you can't do that, get yourself an earthing mat by keyword searching. You'll lose your need to eat following that protocol I just covered with you in 6 months. You don't have to be a vampire, people. Just because you have a reptilian core to your brain doesn't mean you have to open up that vampiristic nature you have in you. Anybody who gets their energy from the sun secondary through eating is a vampire. You're supposed to be getting it through your eyes, through sun gazing. Everything you know is a lie. You've been worshiping Satan your entire life. This is Satan's world. You take your energy from the one true sun above your head and plant an animal, and you feed it to the black hole sun, which is Saturn. Saturn said in Latin is Satan. In a previous age, it was known as Little Zeus. Little Zeus translates to Jesus. When you hear Jesus Christ, you're hearing Little Zeus Chronos. You were told, make no engraven images, no false idols. Any name you put on God is an engraven image, and any image you have in your head when you're praying is a false idol. So when you say that that's your God nailed to a cross, and you bow down to it, that's 100% satanic. The cross is the cube. It's the unfolded cube. The cube that you see in Mecca. It's the North Pole of Saturn. They go counterclockwise around. It's called the Kaaba, and they have their god Allah, the cube god. Jewish people put the cube on their arm and forehead, called the Teflon, and they have the Kabbalah, the cube god. There's only one way to unfold the cube, and that's into your Jesus cross. You have the bottom and the 4 sides, which makes the plus sign, and the one that goes on top. It's called squaring your circle. You put that cube on your head when you graduate school. Your wedding ring makes you satanic. You speak Satan's language, which are black magic spells. Look up David John Oates. He was a runner-up for Nobel laureate for discovering reversing anybody's speech using free audio reversal software. It exposes your lies. You can't hide your lies, people. If anybody gets your voice recorded, or you write a letter to somebody and they read that into the reverse audio software, any lie that was spoken or written will be exposed. So you learn spelling or spell casting in school. Say the magic word. Everybody's a magician. You went to Hogwarts when you went to school. Everybody's a vampire and they can't see it. Somehow you can't see it. When you die, you'll go into the light. Lucifer, the light bringer, light bearer. Clearly, you go into the light. You end up being recycled in the Pac-Man moon. They rubbed it in your face. See that? And you see the DreamWorks where they're fishing for souls in the moon. You see that? The Spirit Rover. You try to escape the earth. See, you get your energy from the sun and plant an animal, and you feed it to the black hole sun. When you die, you're going to want to go back to the sun, but you're not going to make it. The Pac-Man moon's going to get you. And if the Pac-Man moon don't get you, the Spirit Rover will. Rather than going out, you need to go inward, into the darkness. So, I know this is hard to see, but you need to avoid the light at death. And you can try and get down to Pachamama beneath your feet, but there's a grid across Earth that they laid to catch souls. So like pharaohs had to navigate the underworld to get to Pachamama. So you have 3 choices. You could try and go into the darkness and find your own light that's emanating from your heart, your singularity. You could try and make it to the sun, and you get your energy from the sun and plant an animal. And anybody who's here on this plane is getting their energy from the sun. That's where you're going to want to go back to the sun. But if you can't get there, you can't get to Pachamama beneath your feet because of all the traps, you're going to have to find your way into the darkness and find your own light. But avoid the light at all costs, people. That's Lucifer's light. It's inescapable, people. This whole plane of existence, whether it's this life or the next life, it's the soul lure system. You understand me? You're in the soul lure. They've lured your soul into this system, and they've got traps all over to keep you from escaping. And everything you know is a lie. Your church is the one ushering in the one world government. See this? With the cubes on the back. Okay, see that? And on the inside it shows you clearly a one world government, and it shows you Earth's new ruler. Who's qualified to rule? See that? God's kingdom. God is the name never to be said, people. You were told, make no engraven images. You're going to tell God you don't approve of the divine plan. You're going to tell God that He's no longer omnipresent, omnipotent, all-encompassing. It didn't include you. So now you have to pray. Listen to me, people. You were fed the reverse of truth in all things. You need to unite peacefully for your survival. And get to my channel for truth.